favorite vase?
She always says don't play ball in the house.
Pork chops and applesauce. That's swell.
Marcia. Hey, you guys. Oh,
Welcome to Here's the Story, a Brady Bunch podcast. Hey, I'm not going to tear this thing apart. It's my favorite show. Episode 11, Vote for Brady. Marcia and Greg have both been nominated for student body president at Fillmore Junior High. They're running against each other. Carol says, "May the best Brady win." I think that sends the wrong message, Mom. In fact, the campaign turns the kids against each other, boys versus girls. There's a sequence of scenes involving a cake being baked. Mike kicks the pantry closed and Alice panics that the cake may have fallen. Marcia slams the phone on the counter and again the cake gets checked. Jan is stamping her foot upstairs and the cake is checked again. The oven dings, the cake is done. Alice checks it and it's risen up big and full. Then she drops a cutting board on the floor and the cake collapses. Ruined, into the trash it goes. I had to look up if this whole thing really happens in real life. Well, supposedly cakes can sink a bit in the middle due to many reasons. One of which being the vibrations caused by slamming the oven door shut, or a change in temperature by opening the oven door to check on the cake. An entire cake being completely obliterated by a sound in the room may be a bit of an exaggeration. There's another scene where Mike and Carol are fixing a dollhouse in the den. Random chunks of the roof of an otherwise perfect dollhouse have been cleanly broken out, and they are gluing them back into place. What happened to this dollhouse? Did somebody attack it with a hammer? To help with the campaign, Mike lets Greg use his tape recorder and shows him how to use it. You may remember these old things. To record, you have to press 2 buttons down at the same time, play and record. Pressing pause would keep 3 buttons down, and the stop button would release them all. That's the only button that didn't lock down into place. You could use the fast forward and rewind buttons by themselves, or in a combination with the play button, which would go a bit slower, but you could hear it at a high-pitched rate. If any of that sounds complicated, let me tell you, I wish the thing I'm holding in my hand to record this was as simple to use. I needed a tape recorder once for a school project, maybe 15 years after this episode aired, and my grandfather shipped one down to me through the mail, with the implication that it would be shipped back when I was done. I used it to play the theme song to the Waltons at the school library to accompany a slide projector presentation of slides I created from my drawings. I don't remember how we got my drawings made into slides, but the Waltons tape came from my friend Reuben, who my dad insisted I was pronouncing his name wrong, and it had to be Reuben, like the Partridge Family music producer. No, I wasn't. Fun fact, Reuben grew up to run the space program for the Air Force, and then retire in his early 40s. Oh, and we never did get around to shipping that tape recorder back, but I did find lots more uses for it. The Bradys will too, as we'll see in a future episode. Alice reveals that she used to be a cheerleader, and hurts her back doing a cheer. Alice is 45 years old here. That's 2 years younger than me. I better be careful with my back. Marcia shows that the back of the couch in the playroom flips up with shelving storage for 4 pillows. Then she mentions she's going to be using the phone extension upstairs. I don't remember ever seeing where that phone is. Carol reveals that she used to play golf, but with 6 kids and a husband, she's too busy to do it anymore. Mike has 6 kids and a wife and a full-time job, yet he golfs. But then again, not everyone can be Mike Brady. And in 3 years, we'll see Carol play golf, but she'll be a beginner that needs instructions from a book about the basics of the game. So I guess all of this will have been forgotten by then. Mike makes a joke about Congress, and if you watch Maureen McCormick's face, she's not the one who the camera's focused on, but she played Marcia looking insulted and confused at that line. I don't think she understood that it was an insult about Congress, not her. Carol says, "Oh, Alice," twice. That will become a catchphrase for the Brady Bunch movies in the mid-90s. Marcia says groovy twice. I still say awesome as much as I did 35 years ago, but groovy didn't make it far out of the 60s. I said far out. Another one from the 60s. During Marcia's practice speech for the family, the boys make her cry. Carol and Mike handle it with the greatest parental speech under 30 seconds ever given on television.
Gang, it's time we had a little talk.
Later, Marcia overhears Greg standing up for her against his own campaign manager and blowing his chances of getting elected. And she decides to take her mother's advice, rescind her candidacy, and vote for her brother, who clearly has great integrity and character. She's 1 year younger than Greg and 2 grades behind him. She can try again next year. When Greg was standing at the podium giving his speech to the student body, with his dress clothes and tie, he kind of looked just like my brother did about 40 years ago. That was weird. Alice has a congratulations cake for Greg and Marcia. This one's store-bought, though, so it didn't collapse. The episode ends with Cindy beating Bobby for that week's school crossing guard. And the cycle continues. This episode was written by Sherwood Schwartz's brother, Elroy.
His boy Elroy.
I didn't catch when the first time was, but I read that this is the second episode where they mention a kid named Felix Brown being a creep. Greg's campaign manager's helper, Scott, was played by Casey Morgan, who would go on to work as the construction foreman on the 2009 Star Trek film, X-Men First Class, and The Avengers, as well as build sets for the game Crime Patrol 2 Drug Wars, which was in an arcade that I worked at in 1994, and my friend Sean could recite every line of dialogue from it.
Hey, tough guy! Are you looking for me? Vamos, come a little closer. I am Lopez. Lopez, the narcotics king. Take a look around, tough guy. Nice, huh? I have the mansion, I have the money, I have the drugs, I have the power. So what makes you think a little cockroach like you can find me in my lap, huh?
Until next time.